I woke up this morning and thought to myself, it is such an exciting time. It's such an exciting time. This is Karis Alexander with Deep Truth Media. I want to direct you to a post in the description. It's called New Movie Captain America, Russia Equals the Trident. The Trident has been coming up quite a bit, so I want to show a connection here. The USA, significance to the number 13 or 13 degrees. The Cardinal Grand Cross, the Lunar Tetrad, which is coming up on the first anniversary of the Boston bombing. We're going to talk about solar astrology and planetary alignments that are coming up for this auspicious month of April. Yes. Your reality is well choreographed, well scripted by the power control force, those that presume to run this world. You see, awareness. Awareness is the awareness that is you. The totality, the ultimate reality, which is awareness. And I like to give a distinct representation of the totality of who you are as awareness, which is the ultimate reality. It is that you are aware. You are aware of the experience that you're having as awareness through physical form, through the five sense personality, through the mind, brain, body construct. Awareness is aware of itself. This is the first time in human history that awareness can become aware that it has been captured in this consciousness system, this con that I talk about. And so I like to make the distinction between awareness and consciousness, because I believe we have to give new names to what it is that we are experiencing, because there are no words that are really necessary. Awareness is beyond any concept of words or language, that we immerse ourselves within this physical world system, but it's language that is used to deceive us, to capture the awareness that we are, because awareness doesn't need any language. Awareness is all-knowing and wise. Awareness just simply rests in a constant state of paradise. It doesn't need any concepts of language to know itself. And see, this consciousness system, this consciousness that we are all at different levels of consciousness within the system, and that consciousness, or this idea of enlightenment, or these are obscure terms that we're being conned into believing that there is some transcendence that happens when we reach higher and higher levels of consciousness, or that there is some transcendence that happens when we go through a process, we can reach enlightenment. Consciousness and enlightenment are very different from awareness. And I make the distinction, and it's important to do that in order to break the spell. Consciousness just is a data stream. It's conned you into, it's captured the awareness that is you into this stream of data, which is made up of these concepts of language and words and numbers and sound. That's what captures the awareness that is you, only allowing you to experience this small aspect of the totality of who you are as awareness, which is all-knowing and wise, into this consciousness system, this con of a system. And this whole idea of this elusive thing called enlightenment that's there, but no one ever gets there. You're never supposed to reach enlightenment, because light, the whole concept of light, is a lie. You've been seduced. Light is a massive seducer. You see, this system that we live in, that we're immersed in, that we've been conned into, this consciousness system, is an experiment. And it's an experiment gone amok. You see, you cannot divide and try to conquer awareness. And so this is an experiment that's gone really bad. And in that, we are in the midst of the throes of the ending of this finite system because it cannot exist any longer. Awareness is grander, greater. The awareness that is you is grander and greater, and awareness is seeping through. And all these concepts of the G2 cloud, the 2012 precession of the equinox, the 2020 grand mutation. All these are concepts to lure you into believing that there is something that we're moving towards. This whole concept of human evolution. It's a human de-evolutionary program that we are in. There's no evolution here going on here. It's a de-evolutionary program. We can see that. So don't allow yourself to be conned. Don't give any value to this system. There's no need to give value. And that's what most people are caught up in, their own personal metamorphosis. And they're really consumed by the system and the level of responsibility that they have taken on. They place so much value on their things, consumptive quality of their lives. They are consumed by this system. And that's what the system is designed to do. It's just to harvest your energy. Remember, awareness is beyond any concept of energy. Yes, you are to transcend the concept of energy. And yet, we live in an energetic system. And so when you transcend any concept of energy, which awareness is beyond any concepts of energy, you come to know the truth of this. And then you use the energy to manipulate your existence here. That's what you are to do. So the new movie, Captain America, I'm going to talk to you about here. This blog post that I posted, the third dimensional reality has been established in such a way that anything that challenges the status quo is immediately rejected. It makes no difference if the challenge is accurate or inaccurate. What matters is to the universal architects who manufactured the thought process, and the mind that we think are ours, is so that a challenge is initiated. So that humanity, the illusory body of humanity, enters into debate and confusion. Because when you enter into debate and confusion, then you're placing value. You're placing value on the system, and that's what they want. They design this. Now, with debate comes confusion. As each individual is usually quite certain that their perspective is accurate. Now, why would that be the case? Well, that's the case because awareness knows all things. And yet your awareness is captured in this five sense personality experiencing through this mind, body, brain construct, thinking that you know. But it's awareness that is you that is captured, believing that this is all there is, that this is the existence, that this is the ultimate reality. It's confused. It's under massive hypnosis. Anyone who comes to knowledge will defend what they know, because awareness knows all things. But because you're captured in a small aspect of what you're experiencing in this physical dimension, you believe, and so many believe, that this is all there is, because that's the nature of this system, is to capture your essence and deny you the right of knowing the truth of who you are as awareness, so that you are immersed in this dream, not knowing that you're living someone else's dream, that you're living someone else's lie, you're living someone else's story, and that your reality is manufactured. Fascinating stuff. And the most fascinating thing is that there's even a thought that humanity has the ability to correctly portray reality. However, there's an important piece, and so with confusion comes a complete disconnection, or lack of focus upon what truly constitutes reality. The only way to communicate, identify what disconnects us from reality, and what then becomes the veil that keeps us disconnected. Now, this doesn't include debate. It's just communicating the obvious for others to accept or reject. Therefore, when we attempt to expose the agenda as we are doing here, that's all we're doing. From this hypnotic trance state that manipulates our essence as awareness, we can dismantle the system and free ourselves. And we can always look to the media for clues and cues to what is coming next. And the rollout plan for complete and utter control of your essence as unique awareness. And so it is through the media that is being spoon-fed to us around the world that we can get our information, our data stream, through the intellectual systems such as science and religion and astrology and astronomy, and gain full knowledge of the system and the hypnosis that we are under or we are experiencing, and completely disconnect and neutralize any response, whereby freeing ourselves from what appears to be completely real and embrace the sovereign, sacred beings that we are. Well, we are beyond any type of being. We are just awareness, simply resting in a constant state of paradise. Now, the only way to be unaffected by this illusory devastation delivered under the guise of Armageddon, Judgment Day, and keep from experiencing an emotional collapse, which so many are experiencing, is to come out of this hypnosis that we are under, to remain emotionally connected to the third dimensional illusion, believing that it has value and that it's actually real, manipulates who you really are as unique awareness. And it manipulates you to such an extent that you are not able to experience the totality and the truth of who you are, but rather you experience the devastating and emotional cataclysm that is being perpetuated on you through this illusory day of judgment, this Armageddon, as it unfolds on the physical world stage. These are narratives and scripts that are playing out, seducing you into this emotional cataclysm that so many are immersed in on the physical world stage. Do you want to be a part of that? Now, bringing into focus and exposing the agenda at play as awareness to what it is that the universal architects and the power control force use, that is consciousness, which again is a data stream built on sound and word and the number system, or the intellectual systems such as religion, science, and astrology, and education. You know, all those systems that we give so much credence and value to. You know, the systems that they are using to manipulate us. They're using to con us into this concept of consciousness in order to manipulate our essence as awareness, to do their bidding. When we expose all of this, it breaks the hypnotic spell. So that's my goal here. Is we're engaged in an experiment here too. I'm helping you to break the spell. Neutralize any emotional reaction to anything that's going on within the system. Do not give any of it any credence. It's all a lie. Human evolution. We are immersed in a process of human evolution. Well, that's a lie too. Humanity is not evolving. It's de-evolving. That's clear. It's a de-evolutionary process. Again, the system was never designed to work. It can't. Awareness is the ultimate reality. Awareness cannot be divided into this dualistic system. It's an experiment gone bad. And it's in the death throes of existing. It's a software program. I hope you get where I'm coming from. Again, it's just sharing a perspective, a very different one, a different perception. Shift your perception. Open up. Open yourself to experiencing yourself through a different, or having a different experience. Be open to change. Change is upon us. Now let's take a brief look at the American stage and why the number 13 is really important. It turns out that the 13th degree of the zodiacal sign Cancer was rising. The 13th degree of the zodiacal sign Cancer was rising on July 4th, 1776, when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Cancer represents the breasts and is therefore the mother sign, or woman. M is from M-E-M, the 13th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and means woman. How about that? The United States plays a part of the mother to all people, whether they know it or not, and gathers them under her protective care. So that's why there's all this emphasis on the United States and what's unfolding there. The United States commenced its individuality as a nation with 13 states. In 1782, the obverse side of the United States seal was made and contained 13 stars, 13 strips, an eagle with a quiver containing 13 arrows in one talon, and an olive branch and 13 leaves in the other, and the motto, Il pluribus unum, contained 13 letters. Now, the reverse side of the United States seal shows part of the pyramid of Egypt, and the base of which covers 13 acres. There are 13 steps or terraces. The motto over the pyramid, Annuit Septis, contains 13 letters and is Latin for prosper us in our undertaking. Our solar system has passed out of the sign of Pisces, and thus occurred the end of the world. 13 letters. You know, it doesn't really matter whether we're in the age of Pisces or we're in the age of Aquarius. These are all concepts. All we need to focus on is, because they're going to lie to us, doesn't matter what age we're in, all we need to focus on is how these energies are impacting us, how they are allowing us to break the spell, which they don't want us to focus on. Now, on April 4th, 2014, July 4th, 1776, but April 4th, the 4, number 4 here, and April is 4 as well, using the number 4, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, I like the Winter Soldier because we had a very trying winter, one of the most extreme winters I've ever seen in my lifetime. But anyway, it opened in theaters worldwide. It is a 2014 American superhero film. I love the superhero films. Featuring the Marvel Comics character Captain America. It is a sequel to 2011's Captain America, the First Avenger, and the 9th installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The 9th. Interesting. The number 9 coming up. And the 9th installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And April 4th is 11 days before April 15th, the day of the Boston bombing. Isn't that interesting? The first anniversary, which I'll talk about in a minute. Now, here's a little bit on the film. 2 years after the event of the Avengers, Steve Rogers, the character, lives in Washington, D.C. He continues to work for the espionage agency SHIELD, SHIELD, and struggles to adapt to contemporary society. Oh, that's poor guy. I believe the SHIELD, SHIELD, is a subliminal suggesting the U.S. seal above that I just mentioned. Notice the Russian symbol in the background of the Captain America poster? Now, what does this symbol have to do with America? Just another subliminal suggestion for the unassuming masses. But more important, it is a symbol of the trident, which is showing up all over the media. Again, all by design. The trident is a weapon of Poseidon, or Neptune. That's what's more important. Neptune, the god of the sea in classical mythology. Neptune is a sign of consciousness, which is in Pisces now for 7 years. It's in its domicile. Neptune is in its domicile, in its home sign, Pisces. And Neptune represents anything to do with consciousness. Okay? And the evolution of consciousness, or your metamorphosis for that matter. I love this stuff. It's just that, it's like you cannot put any value on this system. It's all a lie. And yet so many people are having such a challenging time because they are so caught in the lie. It's amazing to watch. It's I give such thanks for being where I am. It's hard to watch people, but people don't really want to know more. They don't really want, all I can say is, like, I sit back and go, well, whatever's coming to you must come your way because you're not choosing differently. As I mentioned, when I started on my journey, my pain and suffering threshold was very low 15 years ago. And that's why I started on my journey. I never thought I would get to where I am today, but it was only a journey to self-love. And I'm beyond that. But, I just kept going and going and going, and it's just my makeup. But I truly am blessed. I know that. To have done the work that I've done, I prepared myself for all of this. And, so my question to you is, if you're experiencing a lot of pain and suffering, it's like you're addicted to that, because that's nothing to do with awareness. Awareness has nothing to do with pain and suffering. It doesn't even, it's not a concept. It's not even a part of your essence as awareness. It's just a part of this system. And if you're experiencing pain and suffering and you're wallowing in that, well, and you're not wanting to do anything about that, there's nothing I can do for you. So I share what I share here in the hopes that it gives you some impetus to do something, because there's no reason for you to be experiencing any pain and suffering at all. I mean it, because it's like you have got to stop giving any value to this system. I'm serious. So as we head into April, we can look back in history to major violent events that occurred. We just look at the events. We don't have to feed into the energy of these events. We just look at the dots that are connecting here. Look at this. Waco, April 19th, 1993. Oklahoma bombing, April 19th, 1995. Columbine, April 20th, 1999. Virginia Tech, April 16th, 2007. The Boston bombings, April 15th, 2013. So if you look at these dates and the lineup of the dates of the Cardinal Grand Cross, they're all feeding into this Cardinal Grand Cross too. So, and this 13 degrees. So, it's a program. Now, I found an interesting connection. It turns out that the Lunar Tetrads I've been writing about and speaking about starts April 15th to 2014. That's the first year anniversary of the Boston bombing. You can watch the video below from NASA. Anyway, the Fort Hood shootings on April 2nd, 2014, may be a start of a series of events to unfold. We'll have to wait and see. I don't believe that they're going to have another Virginia attack or Boston marathon type of event in the United States in April. I mean, that's too obvious. But there'll be something around the world. And I've been watching these series of volcanic eruptions. We just had one in Ecuador, so that's going to start. But it's going to morph into something different this month. And let's look at Ukraine and what's happening over there. Because if you look at the Ukraine coat of arms, it's a trident too. And it's on the Black Sea. Ukraine's on the Black Sea, which is, again, as I talked in my last podcast or video, the Black Sea is symbolic of as above, so below, the Milky Way galaxy. You can see all these connections. It's like, you start seeing this stuff, it's so easy. Anyway, the Lunar Tetrad series that's coming up also coincides with the Jewish Passover feast, which begins on that day. That is April 15th and ends 1 week later on April 21st. Right when we have this exactly when we have this Cardinal Grand Cross, the height of it, and could signify the opening of the inner window of opportunity, which will open from April 15th to April 29th with the Cardinal Grand Cross configuration on April 21st, which is when the Uranus-Pluto square becomes exact and Jupiter comes into exact T-square, and then Mars comes in to make the exact degree Grand Cross. So the Grand Cross with the square, this Grand Cross is really a square. You know, all these Kiev square, Tiananmen square, the Eye Rising in Egypt in their square, all these squares. It really is the feminine. Makes up the, from a physiological standpoint, the brain, the breasts, the solar plexus, and the genitals. Interesting enough. So it turns out that all the planets will be at 13.5 degrees. Oh, what a coincidence, of the cardinal signs when they make this Grand Cross. That is a reference to 13 in the U.S. seal I mentioned above. No coincidence here, just an opportunity to see what the power control force or how they manipulate our reality through astrology. Now remember, astrology is a software program that we are operating under as a human species. It's what we operate from. It's not a bad thing. It's better to know what is influencing our behavior and our metamorphosis, so we have a better understanding of how we can live, or how we live in a programmed reality. It's a software program. In the astrology, we can look to the software that is influencing the awareness that is us. I really encourage everyone to come to know their astrological blueprint, learn how you're wired, and the program is really has you designed to be doing, and fall into alignment with that, because that'll be their saving grace. If you can fall more into alignment with the program that you're immersed in, that's supporting your metamorphosis in a sense, then you'll have a better time being here. But if you're going to resist the program, which you're immersed in, well, you're just going to fall into a lot of the chaos and emotional cataclysm that many are going to be experiencing. So the more you can move into alignment with your astrological blueprint and fulfill your mission as designed by this program, the better off you'll be. And then the idea is that once you move into your astrological blueprint and you move into your mission in this program reality, then you can take the next step and transcend all of it and come to know self as awareness. But it's all about moving into alignment, and then transcending all of it. I'm not sharing something that I'm not experiencing myself. What I'm sharing with you is my own experience. I'm not sharing concepts or ideas with you that I've read about. This is my own experience. And I'm helping you to navigate through this quagmire of a sick system. Remember, the power control force, those that presume to run this world, are mentally insane. You are living in a system where people who are running it are mentally insane. If that's not enough to get you off your butt to prepare yourself for what's to come, I don't know what will. And maybe if you're not going to do anything but sit on your butt and not do anything and hope that somebody's going to come and save you, which is what the power control force would like you to believe, then you have everything coming to you that you deserve. I kid you not. So, on April 20th, 2014, when this configuration of these 4 planets is at the beginning of its most intense phase, as the moon is in Capricorn and the triggering of the whole thing happens, then it's on April 22nd when Mars moves into its exact position and squares the already existing exact T-square. This is said by some to be probably a period when we move into the most volatile, intense time of the last few years. Yes, it can get more intense. We can expect acts of terrorism, natural disasters, and earthquakes, extreme weather. Either way, and a war escalating. But either way, there's going to be some type of conflict, whether military or otherwise. These planets are all in cardinal signs, which are action-oriented signs. So you see how the program is playing out. Therefore, things happen in action signs according, again, to a planned agenda, of course. Now, remember in November 2013, for those of you who've been following my posts, I shared with you that Uranus-Pluto square happened in the early month of November of 2013, and it marks a transition from external stimulus motivating action into the several-year period that we are experiencing, or we are in the midst of now, one of demonstrated action, catalyzing revolutionary change in many facets of human society. Now, while some might say that it's quite stunning how these four planets come together so precisely, but it's not that stunning. It's just that the universal architects of power control force made this happen, which makes these energies all come together and release at exactly the same time. It's all designed to harvest the energies of these planetary configurations for their own agenda. Remember, they harvest energy. They need to, in order to keep the system afloat. So looking at a solar astrology and tracking our individual and collective metamorphoses, let's keep in mind we have two strong planetary alignments coming up. April 15th to 16th, we have Mars, Earth, and Mercury aligned. And then on April 21st to 23rd, we have Mars, Earth, and Uranus. These feature prominently this month, these planetary alignments, and may coincide, and will, but I'm certain they will, coincide with significant energies that will be bathing our planet and each of us. So let's stay tuned for the incoming energies. And I'm also looking at some alignments that seem quite significant to me around April the 9th. So let's tune into the energies. And the energies are very powerful right now anyway, but these are just moments, pivotal moments that I'm mentioning that will be intensification of energy. So if you know that, you can keep things in perspective and not feed into the drama and trauma and emotional cataclysm that many will be experiencing. You can keep things in perspective. So thank you so much for tuning in here. If you want to join me on Facebook, my name is Kerrace, Kerrace, Alexander. Truly is a glorious time to be here. I cannot stop saying that enough. There is an opportunity for you to have a different experience. I do hear from many of you who are having wonderful experiences. Continue to do that inner work. And if there's any way that I can support you, let me know. We'll touch base soon. Bye.